is To All the Men I've Tolerated Before with your hosts, Natalie Katona.
And Dina Al-Khatib.
On this podcast, Dina and I explore some of the more impactful relationships we've had with men. We then, after our stories are all said and done, give you some big takeaways and lessons we've learned, thank those men, and as a special bonus to them, leave them with some positive manifestations, we hope, for the future. Today we're going to be talking about what we've been taught, or, I'm sorry, not talked. I mean, we've been taught that. Today we're going to be talking about what we've been taught or felt about our body image and where we're at on body positivity.
Woohoo! I feel like this is a topic that a lot of people can relate to.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't have, men have never been at the forefront of my campaign either for or against my body positivity. But, I mean, I think it's valid for men to be aware of the different ways that women have been bred to struggle with their body positivity.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'm the same way. I haven't had many men be shitty about my body image, but not since I was, a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But,
right.
Yeah.
So there you go, men. You're getting a day off. We're not even going to complain about you.
Maybe a little complaining, but not, a huge amount.
I still made sure to, throw in sprinkles of at least one story about men being icky.
That's right.
So the only time I can really remember, and I don't know what this says about me and how I remember, my relationship with my body when I was growing up, but I don't remember it being that serious or that dramatic. I remember, always being in the throes of, why won't he like me? But I don't remember ever just, standing in front of the mirror, just telling myself over and over again, boys hate you because you're fat. Boys hate you because you're fat. And I was always a fat kid, so it would have been very easy to fall into that type of behavior.
Yeah.
But
for the record, I don't think people stand in front of mirrors and just tell themselves they're fat. If you do, I'm so sorry. That sounds really bad.
I'm sorry, that's what all media has made me believe, that people just sit in front of mirrors going, I am flawed.
Actually, sometimes I don't do that, but sometimes I'll grab my fat and I'll just really, really jiggle it, and I'll make myself look like a goblin while I'm doing it. I'm that's about as close as I'll get.
That sounds more joyous than tearing yourself down.
It's kind of like when people make fun of themselves in a joking way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To, lighten the blow a little.
The self-deprecating humor.
Yeah, exactly. That's the word I was looking for, self-deprecating.
So, my parents went to a college that has mech at the forefront of its name, it's an Irish word or something. So I would have a lot of sweatshirts that I would wear in the fall that had this class's or the school's name on it. And I guess because I guess I could fit into adult sweatshirts as a child. Woo! Mature for my age. And honestly, it could be the wrong kid, but a kid whose cousin was my first boyfriend and the guy who took my virginity, when I had to go to his family Christmas or Thanksgiving one year, and he was like, oh, my cousin so-and-so is going to be there. I was like, your cousin is the first kid to ever bully me.
Specifically, this kid.
And he's like, well, you going to be good? I'm like, I don't know. We'll see if the trauma hits while he passes the green beans to me. But him,
you just throw the green beans at his face,
right? Just be like, you're not cool. I'm cool. But him and his buddy, I don't even remember what the buddy's name was. I have a feeling that his buddy was tan with darker hair compared to this other kid who was short with blonde hair. In my mind, there are stark differences between the two. But they would call me Big Mac.
Because you delicious? I don't understand.
Because I was big and I had Mac on my sweatshirt.
Oh, I get it!
So they would call me Big Mac.
That's kind of clever, actually,
It
that
is
they paid
attention.
attention.
I'm sure feelings were hurt as a kid, if I even remember it. But, like, what a stupid way to be bullied and, like, your first, like, brush with body shame. I don't even like Big Macs. I don't like Big Mac sauce.
I honestly think they're kind of overrated.
It's gross.
I think you could, if you like the sauce, they should just take it off the Big Mac and put it on a better burger.
Yeah. But then, like, eventually, when we were all in high school together, because, like, I was in the same school from, like, 3rd grade until I graduated high school. Not the same school, but the same district. So my junior year of high school, when my grandma passed away, when I came back to Spanish class, this kid who used to, I guess, make fun of me when I was a little kid, he wrote a jingle to, like, hype me up when I walked into Spanish class for the first time after being gone for, like, funeral leave. And he wrote it to the tune of My Sharona, and he just, like, I walked in, and all of a sudden he's, like, pounding on his desk, and he's like, dun, 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 my Katona, and he got, like, other people to do it. So it's, like, not that serious. Like, it wasn't, like, the big traumatic moment. I guess, like, that's truly it's the only time I remember anyone outside of my family actually making a negative comment towards my body. I mean, we've talked about how, like, in high school, my guy friends would, like, take liberties with my body because I was, like, bigger and curvier and whatever, so they'd, like, bump me or grab me or, you know, classic men in the early 2000s just, like, low-key groping in the lunch line.
Hate it.
But I guess, like, my weird relationship with my body is that, like, I guess, like, when I was in high school, it was like, at least I'm getting some attention because I wasn't dating anyone or anything. So it's like, guess these boobs be popping. They're just not the type of boobs you want to date. So that is my man story. What we could do is you could launch into your man story if it is also brief. And then I just have, like, a list of things that I feel about my body and how I combat them.
I feel like, well, I did mine kind of just, like, as a fluid story, so I feel like it'll be better if you just, like, go through yours and then I'll go through them.
So Stephanie, from our episode about being a mom during a pandemic, I don't remember what episode it is, but it is an episode that you've heard before this one. She wanted me to let all of the tolerators know Hot Mom's coming back. So she said, she was like, I do really think that it's really important that when you're recording this week about body image and body positivity, you make sure to let everyone know that Hot Mom was never, not one day in her life, a size 4. Like, my mom's side of the family, like, my grandma's French Canadian, so she was very slim or whatever. But my grandpa's side of the family, like, we are voluptuous, like, thick and curvy Croatian women.
Yeah.
And, like, I mean, I wish I had a better ass than I do. My ass is kind of, like, the only place where my curves fall flat. And my very delicate, tiny wrists. Tiny, delicate wrists. But I grew up surrounded by women who, like, worked out, and, like, I guess I have memories of my mom or my aunt trying fad diets or, like, having the shitty, like, 100-calorie snacks or whatever. But it wasn't their whole personality, so it wasn't that serious. I feel like we've entered this age where, like, if your mom dieted at all or hobby worked out at all, then it's like, that traumatized you, and, like, that's what your, like, role model was or whatever. But I think instead, like, when I look back on it, I see these, like, curvier, more plus size. I mean, my mom is, like, Hot Mom right now. If she's below a size 12, I'd be surprised, but she's, like, fit, and she's at, like, fit size 12, where it's all, like, together.
Yeah.
So, like,
She's
So,
athletic.
yeah, she's athletic. I don't even know if she's, like, working out that much anymore, but, like, I hear of her working out. So, on with my mom's side, my mom and I have had a lot of, like, adult come to reckoning conversations now that I live on my own and she can visit me on her own. And one of those adult, like, reckoning conversations was that she remembered that, like, when she was growing up as a kid, moms were, like, really hateful and mean to their plus size children. And it was like a fixation point, right? Which I guess makes sense. I don't know when my mom was born. I don't know when anyone was born. We can call it the later 60s. We could call it the 70s. I'm not going to do the math right now. But she always remembered that, like, she wanted us to almost be, like, aware that there were healthier options, but also not push it. So I was on, like, diets like Weight Watchers when I was a teenager, but we all just did it together as a family. So it wasn't like, hey, Natalie, your jeans don't fit, so you have to go on Weight Watchers, and we're going to Dairy Queen because we tried harder.
Yeah.
Like, we just shifted. It wasn't like an early aughts family was going to give up soda, so we just changed to Diet Dr. Pepper in the house. And, we did the, like, mom portioned out all of the shit for Weight Watchers anyways. Like, if I had to do Weight Watchers by myself with all the math that you have to do and the motherfucking, like, portion planning and, like, you gotta, like, have, like, only 1 spoon of cheese on your tacos, my God, my brain wouldn't be able to compute it.
I like the 1 scoop of cheese. Like,
that's literally how you have to think of everything, because it's like, this much ground beef is 4 points, and you only have 42 points, and you have to eat all of your 42 points, but it has to be exactly 42 points.
Oh my God.
Literally.
This shit gets crazy.
It's too stressful. So thank God, like, mom was there to actually, like, make me successful. I am a Weight Watchers dropout. And I was never very thin as a teenager. But, like, I think it was more about, like, the portion control. And then, like, in the summer, she would take us to work out with her. So it was, like, we would go to Curves for Women. Have you ever been in a Curves for Women?
I think I did once, because one of my friend's mothers, I think, was in it.
It's like the workout that you do 3.5 or 2.5 circuits of the little workout things in the circle, and it takes 30 minutes, and it was going to be
like interval training.
Yes. Yeah, and there were, like, little blocks that you marched into place in between every machine. And she got us all Curve memberships one year for summer because she's like, you gotta be doing something in the summer. So, and then, when I was little and Richard Simmons, like, dance aerobics videos were a thing, she would just be like, you like to dance, do Sweating It to the Oldies with me. So, like, my mom very much told me that she was like, I wanted you to be healthy, but I also didn't want to harp on it because I also didn't, like, want to ruin who you were as a person. And she goes, and I always tried to toe that line, which was interesting because, I mean, I talk about this story where, like, my mom got frustrated while we were homecoming shopping, and she just told me, like, this dress has been the first dress that fits, and you've got to go, and you've just got to wear it, to where, like, on the outside that might look like a, like, oh, a hot mom getting mad at her plus size daughter because none of the dresses fit. But no, I just think that, like, my mom, my grandma, and I have a lot of unchecked anger issues, and they just flare up inappropriately.
Makes sense.
Now, on the flip side, my dad's mom all of a sudden became, like, in her later years in life, so, like, literally, like, right before she's about to meet her maker, now all of a sudden she is, like, body crazed. And I remember at my sister's high school graduation, I went and got a piece of the sheet cake, because you have sheet cake at graduation parties, and I always get the corner piece because I love frosting. I always get the corner piece with flowers because I love flowers. And she walked up to me and she, like, whispered in my ear, "That's so fattening." So I looked at my cousin Jacob and I went, "Go get me another slice."
Mood. I love that. Oh my god.
And then, like, one of my dad's nieces was the first person to make me aware that in the 4th grade I had already developed breasts, and that's weird.
Same.
I was in a bathing suit in her motherfucking pool at her motherfucking apartment, and I'm just trying to vibe. And she's like, your mom's gonna have to go into, and she's like 10 years older than me. Your mom's gonna have to, like, go get you a bra soon. Your boobies came in. You're too young for all that. How weird.
Oh my god, what's wrong with people?
I begged for boobs for Christmas. They just arrived.
We didn't ask for this, y'all. It just showed up one day.
But my mom would be, like, very sensitive about my boobs because she's always had big breasts too. Like, we come from a line of curvy women. So, like, I also remember that, like, we had a boy that would spend the night at our house on Mondays because his parents had to be out of town on Monday, and he was one of the neighbors. And I came in and, like, down, and just, like, one of my, like, it was summer, so it was a tank top,
right,
sleep shirt, and you don't wear a bra with your sleep shirt. You're going to bed. It's your boobies break time.
That's right.
So I'm, like, heading downstairs to watch Degrassi with my buddy, and my mom's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, vibing, or whatever the early 2000s, chilling. The equivalent is chilling like a villain. And she's like, "You didn't wear that downstairs. He's over here." And I'm like, "Yes. I do not understand."
Is that a problem?
Right, I do not understand.
Isn't it interesting how our parents ingrain that men can't control their penises?
Right.
If they see you wearing a shirt without a bra, like, they instilled that in us.
Right.
We were not born with this shit, y'all.
Spoiler alert, this little boy, homosexual.
Didn't care. He didn't give two shits.
He didn't care about my nip-nips.
Nope.
He didn't care about my nip-nips or the fact that, like, at the age of, 5th grade, my boobs were already on the verge of touching my belly button if they were just let loose. He didn't know. And I think, like, as adults, we have to be so careful about how we talk to kids about that, because what does that say about anything? Like, why can't my nipples be out? Or, like, who says that he's gonna, like, grope me in the middle of the night because he's come upon a breast? Or any of it. But yeah. And then
so bad.
But I will say that even though, like, moments like these have clearly happened in my life, for whatever reason, and I don't know if it's, like, being so far into a global pandemic where I stopped giving a shit of, like, my presentation to the outside world because I wasn't seeing the outside world. Like, right. When it comes to, like, my body image or my body positivity, it's all like water off a duck's back. I don't even think about it.
I think it sounds like your mom, like, your parents were pretty, like, they weren't mean about it. You know what I mean? They weren't, like, critical of it. And I think that's mostly where it comes from. Like, if you're getting hit at school, for example, of people bullying you about your weight, well, at least and you have parents that are at least supportive and not doing that, at least you're coming home to parents that don't make you feel shitty about your weight. You know what I mean? But then if you're getting hit by both the kids that are shitty and your parents are being shitty, it kind of just reaffirms you that you're fat is what you feel like. You just feel fat and that your body's wrong.
Well, and chalk it up to my brazen, flirtatious, magnetic demeanor. But no kids besides this, like, one instance I can think of were ever that shitty. Like, it's not like I was asking guys to dances or whatever, and they were like, no, Tubbo, I'm going to be taking the skinny lady.
Right.
Like, no one was ever I was lucky. No one was ever outwardly shitty to me. And I think it's just because everyone enjoyed my company. I think it's, like, not as easy to, like, kick your buddy because she likes an extra cheesy gordita crunch with her Taco Bell meal. But yeah, and it's something that like, and I honestly think if I had ever had a window to feel like that insecure and depressed about my own body, like I have a lot of other things that I feel anxious and depressed about, and it's very rarely my body. But that small window, because I'm so goddamn logical, as soon as boys would still like flirt with me or interact with me or give me attention or grope me in a lunch line, like it's like it checked off, like, oh, it's not a problem. Oh, it's not a problem. And like, I think that's why I like sexting so much and sending like dirty pictures or whatever, because it literally just makes me believe that it's like, whatever, I'm still getting attention for this body, and that's fine too. And I will say that there are some ways that I cope with my own skin where it's like, well, is it because I love my body and how I look, or is this how I cope with the body that I've been handed? It's a very confusing, blurred line. Like, as we know, I love to craft an entire outfit, and I pay a lot of attention to the way that things fit and the way that things cut and where they hit and where they gather and where seams are and what colors look correct or whatever. And it's like, so is that just me being a fashion lover, or is that me already putting the defense up of like, you can't say shit about my body, look how good I look how good I look in this outfit?
I think like, is there stuff that you won't wear because of your body?
So I get a little angsty about sleeveless stuff, but it's not because of the size of my arms, it's because of my farmer's tan. Like, I get weird about tan lines.
Oh, that's so funny.
Like, it just bothers me that, like, my arm is one color right up until a point, and now because I'm sleeveless, it's like I did something wrong.
You did it, though.
I will say that one of the, like, stupid cliches that I probably didn't even, like, hear from one of my moms or aunts or anyone. I probably, like, heard it on fucking TV, like, on Designer Women or something. I wouldn't wear horizontal stripes for a while because they make me
I'm
look,
the same way.
Yeah. But I wore it for the 4th of July. And then, but I did when I was tie-dyeing over the weekend. And I was doing, like, I was setting up the t-shirt to do the stripe tie-dye. I did think to myself, like, oh, am I not going to like wearing this because it's going to make a horizontal line effect? But then I bought a dress at Walmart because I felt like I needed a themed outfit. And I threw it on and I was like, nope, look bangin'. So even those things are starting to fall away.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. I think that, like, spending an entire year doing yoga and strong things in my sports bra in front of my mirror, just being like, yes, I can do this, really helped. Plus, it's trendy now to be body positive, and we all know I love to fall into a really good trend.
Love that for you.
Thank you. But yeah, that's kind of that's where I'm at on body positivity. I'm not overtly positive. I do post a lot of selfies because there are a lot of days where I think I look really good, and I would like some validation for that. I'm mostly sharing because I care about all of you. And it's like, just a reminder, I'm gorgeous. You're welcome.
All right, I guess it's my turn, huh?
It's your turn.
All right, so I grew up as a kid being a very athletic child. Like, I played every sport known to man, from basketball to soccer to football. I played football because they told me as a girl that I couldn't do it, and I did it.
Defiance!
So I played football, I did archery, I just did everything. Pretty much. I was a jock. Like, I wore fucking basketball shorts to school and shit. Like, that was me. But around when I was like 12 years old, I got diagnosed with PCOS, which I'm sure so many of our listeners have. It affects about 10% of women to varying degrees. But if you don't know what it is, it's polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is a hormone disorder. It's very common, but a lot of different women will have different symptoms with it, different levels of severity. It's not the same across the board, but in my case, I had the worst, like, of everything. I had the worst, like, just all the symptoms. Every single one that was listed, I had. So, since then, I struggled with really, like, gaining and losing weight, and my body image just kind of went downhill from there. I went to the doctor when they diagnosed me, and she recommended that I go on the South Beach diet at 12 years old. And that hit me right between, like, middle school and high school. I gained a lot of weight. Like, a lot. I stopped doing sports because we moved. All this stuff happened. For whatever reason, gained a lot of weight. And my mom, you know, she would always comment on my weight, whether, like, always kind of, like, criticizing it, like, if I'd gotten bigger and things like that. And I don't think she ever fully understood, like, my medical condition to even understand why I was gaining weight. And we didn't stick to any kind of diet that would maybe help with PCOS, but it doesn't always. So I was just kind of left on my own to deal with it. I didn't really have any kind of, like, support in it. But I was always the tallest kid in class, just the biggest, not, like, heavy, but just, like, a very large child. Like, I took up space. Like, I jokingly say that I've been 5'8" since the 4th grade. And like Natalie, I have boobs, and I've had them since I was in the 4th grade. I think I started my period then too. Like, everything just fucking hit me.
It is very hard to be a woman who takes up just a lot of physical space in a world that doesn't want women to take up any space.
Correct. And, so yeah, she always commented, like, on my weight, and so I became very, like, self-conscious about it, especially since I had gained weight. And I got bullied in middle school and high school for not just my weight, but, like, my looks. Like, I'm not a person that is conventionally, I think, attractive. And certainly when I was younger, I didn't even know how to, like, do anything with myself, like, makeup wise, or, you know, grooming or anything like that to make the best of what I had. And so I had kids, like, you know, making fun of my weight, the way I looked. Like, they called me an ogre, like, in art class once. Like, yeah, they were not nice. They were very
kids.
Yeah, kids can be very shitty.
Number one, we all love Shrek. I love Shrek the musical, so go fuck off. Those kids are behind the times.
They're literally the worst.
Watch Shrek.
And I mean, I would just always struggle with the way I looked. I tried covering myself up, you know? We all know those people that wore baggy clothes because they hated their bodies. Like, that was me for a while there. Even in high school, like late high school, I had a friend, actually a female friend, that would, like, I started to really focus on my physical health. So I would work out. I was, like, dieting, all this stuff. And she would get really, really jealous when I would start to feel better about myself and my physical self anytime I got, like, weight loss.
Ooh, 'cause you were the friend that she judged her own happiness off of and her own self-image off of.
Because,
you know, that hierarchy shit that girls will do.
Oh, yeah. And she, like, had way worse body image issues than I did. And so whenever she saw me, like, getting smaller and, like, feeling better and feeling more confident about myself, she took it personally and would, like, be passive aggressive and angry and, like, all this stuff. And it really, like, confused me, right? Because I was, like, really starting to feel like I was feeling better about myself. And then you have somebody who I had a few very close friends, not a bunch of, you know, friends. So she was one of my really close friends. And then you had this person that was, like, not happy for you feeling good. And that's not That's not a great, like, that's confusing.
Fuck her too.
It's not great. We're not friends anymore, but
that's right.
We're not like close friends anymore.
Guess what? And we hate you now. We still hate you. I'm just gonna start calling people out on the Facebook. It's like, if you know we're talking about you, we hate you. No manifestation for you.
And I mean, I have been big and I have been skinny. And when I was at my skinniest, I still was not happy with myself. Like, with the way I looked, my mental health wasn't better. My, relationship wasn't any better if it was going badly. Like, nothing changed. And when I know people say that all the time, where like, if you, feel bad about yourself or don't love yourself at one size, just losing weight isn't gonna fix that problem. Like, you're still gonna have that problem. So, and I tried every fucking diet. I did calorie counting. I did South Beach for a while. I did intermittent fasting. I did keto for almost 2 years. And I lost a lot of weight with keto, but I also had a very bad eating disorder with keto. Like, it was kind of fucked up. So, I struggle with binge eating and with, like, starving myself and bulimia. At, like, sometimes it's just been a battle my whole fucking life. It's just been a battle, and it sucks. It sucks so much because at least for me, I am my worst critic. Like, no one else will be thinking, not even my partners ever made me feel shitty. Like, thankfully none of them did, because I don't know how I would handle any more, like, stress on my body image issues if my partner was also adding to that would suck. But, most of my partners loved my body no matter what the size was. They were like, you're so sexy. Like, any outfit I would wear, they would love it, but it was always me putting that pressure on myself. And I realized how badly it affected my mental health when, like, I would get really triggered by people, like, posting photos or something of me, and I would, like, start to freak out, like, and think about, oh my god, I need to not eat, like, look at what I look like in this photo or something, like, and I'd start having panic attacks and stuff, and it's really, it's just the fucking worst. To hate the body that you're living in instead of trying to love it is so exhausting. And even now, as I try and love it, it's still a battle, it's still small, tiny little baby steps of, like, okay, let me wear this outfit out that I don't think I look good in. Like, let me post this picture that I don't feel is super flattering. Like, it's just every little step is fucking awful and hard. But I started to... Oh, sorry, were you going to say something now?
I was going to offer a tip. For several days and possibly weeks, every day, because I was feeling, like, so overwhelmed with quarantine or bullshit or new jobs or old nanny jobs or whatever, I would post in my Discord server has a selfies channel where it's just literally for channels, and I would just post my most outlandish facial expressions, because you know how I have, like, a very expressive face, so I'd get the 4 chins in and just be like, I never want to live again. and give it up for the hype queens of the world, because, like, 2 or 3 of the women on the server or users of the server would be like, we fucking love your face, you should be some sort of facial comedian, because it made them laugh.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, again, I'm a very vain person, and I think it's out of defiance of my dad always trying to tell me to be more humble. So, like, I almost feel like allowing yourself to be like, I don't actually know if I rock this outfit, but I'm going out, or I'm posting it on Instagram, or I'm going to, like, just do an entire week where I'm making the ugliest face that I can to get ourselves out of this headspace that, like, perfection is the only thing worthy of attention. You know?
Yeah. No, I think that's definitely a good activity.
So good on you for always like going, no, I'm doing this. I'm making the conscious choice to post this or walk out in this outfit or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, so that's a good segue into like where I'm at now with like my journey with my body image, is that I'm really trying to just accept and love myself no matter what I look at. Or no matter what I look like. So accept and love myself as I am right now with no changes. And so what the ways that I'm doing these things is by, one, following content creators that are, you know, not fat phobic, are, you know, preach on body positivity and loving yourself. Now, I struggle a little bit because I do want to be healthy. And so, but I don't want to be so tied to every single thing that goes in my mouth or what, you know what I mean? I don't want to have to think it, because when I was on keto, I would think all my whole day was just thinking about what I was eating and what I looked like and all this stuff. Like, and that is exhausting to do for your whole life.
I feel like fad diets are very easy into tricking you. And it's all just like consumerism anyways. Like, yes. Like it's all just like, that's what trends and fads are. And I fall into them too. But like, where it's just like, it's so easy with a fad diet to be like, well, am I supposed to be eating leafy greens? Or am I supposed to be avoiding leafy greens? And, like, I can't name for you anything. Like, iron. Like, I know I'm iron deficient. I can't name one thing that has iron in it. I don't know anything about nutrition.
Yeah, that's our society really failed us on that, among other things. But, I mean, now I kind of practice, you know, loosely intuitive eating and listening to like what my body is asking for and its signals and stuff. I'm also a vegan, which is not for the ethical reasons, but it doesn't hurt that little baby cows aren't dying. Yeah, I'm a vegan, and I just try and love myself. Like, I try and think of like one thing that I like about myself every day if I can. I started buying things, like pieces of clothing that I wouldn't wear normally, you know, out. I just bought a whole bunch of those 2-piece, like cute summer crop top / skirt sets, basically, those 2-piece sets. I bought a bunch of those that I want to try to wear out. I know it's so dumb because it's like, what, like you can wear whatever you want in your home, but I couldn't even stand the sight of me like wearing anything like a crop top at home. So I started wearing just around the house, like shorts and a crop top, like, because just to get myself comfortable seeing myself and my body, no matter what it looks like, and trying to curb those negative thoughts as much as possible, because you don't, like, hating yourself is so exhausting, because you literally live within this vessel that you were given. You did not choose any of the pieces that came with it. And we're all just, I mean, trying to hate that every single day it's exhausting. I mean, I know I've said that like a million times, but it really is. It's just exhausting, and I don't want to do it anymore. I have such a long way to go, but I'm miles ahead of where I was a few years ago in this headspace. Like, and
have you started noticing like small increments of growth where it's like, oh, 5 years ago I would have thought this, but today here I stand telling myself this? Or
so like 5 years ago, when I would have all these negative, intrusive thoughts about my body image, I would just like spiral into it for days. Like, I would spiral into it, and it would ruin any plans I had. I wouldn't want to go out. I wouldn't want to eat. I wouldn't want to do any of these things. But now when they start, I'm able to at least, like, stop and, like, stop the thoughts for a minute and start giving myself affirmations instead, that even if I don't believe them, because I'm one of those people that's like, what the fuck's an affirmation gonna do for me? That shit ain't gonna do shit if I don't believe it. You yelled at
me one time during book club because I was like, have you thought of getting an affirmation deck? I have 8. Yes. And you were like, who the fuck wants to sit there and tell themselves really nice things about themselves? And I was like, well, I have a necklace, and for every bead, I just repeat the nice thing about myself. And I do it for 12 minutes every day.
It's really one of those things of, like, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna fucking say it. Guys, it's stupid. I do it in the shower sometimes. I'll just tell myself really nice things about myself, and I'm like, I don't believe any of this fucking shit, but I'm gonna say it to myself until I fucking believe it!
I keep my affirmation cards on my mirror, because my mirror has a frame in it that you can just, like, boop, stick them in. And so when I'm rubbing in my lotion, because, like, rubbing in an active lotion is, like, in itself a form of self-love. You are, like, moisturizing and taking care of your skin. Sometimes I'll turn off my podcast and I'll say the affirmation while I'm rubbing it into my skin, just to, like, get, like, real witchy with it and just have, like, a physical act to a ritual.
Yeah. And it is worth stating, guys, that I'm also, like, a victim of sexual assault, which does play into, like, a lot of my behaviors with my body. Is I don't feel super comfortable a lot of the time, like, having like a lot of pieces of my body showing, or, like, I really don't like when people comment on my body, whether it is positive or negative, because I don't like attention on my body. And you may notice, like, I don't post that many pictures, like, of myself or videos for the podcast Instagram. If you guys are seeing, like, oh, like, where's Dina at? Well, the thing is I'm not really comfortable, like, being on camera and having my body, like, showing a lot. It's really hard for me. I'm growing in that, you know, I'm trying to do that more, but it's definitely something that I need to work and improve on. So I hope someday, guys, tolerators, if you were listening, that I will be more comfortable showing more of myself with you. But at this time, I'm still just a baby in my growth, so.
A baby.
I'm a little babe.
She bought an affirmation deck, though. Or did you? Or did you just come up with your own nice things to say to yourself?
I just came up with my own nice things, but I think I should get a deck. I think it would make it more of, like, a ritual, you know, like a real thing.
Get yourself a beaded necklace. Just.
Y'all are so funny because we have prayer beads, like Arabic prayer beads. We've been using this shit for years.
I understand that my mala beads are just, like, also prayer beads. They're also, like, I am a person who left the Catholic Church, but then found herself, like, a witchier version of a rosary.
Right.
We all have them. I just, because I have to be grounded, and I find it so hard to meditate because my brain will jump off. Like, the whole act of just, like, moving it through my hand helps.
Keeps you, like, focused.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I had. That's where I'm at.
It's a journey.
It's not easy. It's really not. It's...
And, like...
No one teaches you how to deal with these things at all.
And unfortunately, like, you've hit every roadblock, right? Because it was, like, the parental insupport. The abuse of someone outside of your family. Like, children who are supposed to be your peers, like, being awful. And, like, fuck.
Then there's lasting effects of that shit. Kids are they are delicate little creatures, just like puppies.
Like, if you wouldn't say it to a puppy, don't say it to a child.
That's right.
And if you would say anything mean to a puppy, don't get a puppy.
What's wrong with people?
What's wrong with people? And then on top of all of that, you have our number one enemy, the media.
Oh my god, yeah.
When you were growing up, did you notice a lot in the media.
I mean, you had things like America's Next Top Model, like, and quote plus size models that weren't actually plus size at all.
And it was so much harder for them to be on the show. No one would have clothes for them or anything.
No, and like, but it's, I mean, that's real. Back in the day, you had like 2 plus size sections that you could shop in, and just now it is starting to become more inclusive, like, size wise. But it's still fucking hard.
Right. It is still a struggle. I will go back to your thrift store because I love thrifting. If it's sorted by size instead of like the mishmash that can be a thrifting adventure, if you've made a point to be like, you don't have to dig, you don't have to be frustrated, you can walk right over to these 3 racks and these are your options. That's all I want to know. I don't need to have every option. I would just like to know where my options are.
That's right. Oh, I hate that. I hate the digging.
The digging.
Or, like, what's worse is, like, when the hanger says one size, but then you, like, pull it out and it's something else, and you're like, oh my, I just got jebaited by this hanger.
I just got fucking fooled.
And then you go to Target, and all the big sizes, like your XLs are plus, are gone. Mm-hmm. Like, they're just gone, which means there is demand for this, people.
Right.
Let's just provide the people what they want.
Mm-hmm.
We want clothes. We want to be able to wear fucking clothes.
Right. We're just also trying to cover the nipples that you told us cannot be seen. That's all we're trying to do.
Not to mention, like, size discrepancies. Like, you'll be, like, a size 12 in one store, and then you'll be a size, like, 16 in another, or something crazy. Like, because all the vanity sizing is, like...
Dina had to do some, like, high-level engineering to fit me for all of the bras that I now own.
Yeah.
I had to get, like... I had to get topless in the middle of a party, in the middle of a get-together, because Dina was like, I found something that actually sizes you for bras. Do you want me to just size you for a bra? And I was like, yes. So I have to get, like, topless in the middle of the party. Yeah. I had to lay on someone's, like, living room floor. I had to lay on my stomach. I had to lay on my back.
It's actually quite complicated to get properly sized for a bra, because the way they do it in, like, Victoria's... Yes. Angle. Yeah, because, okay, the 90-degree angle, let me explain the 90-degree angle. That's one of the measurements you have to do, is to bend 90 degrees and have your boobs, like, pushed, you know, obviously, dangling, if you will.
Yeah.
And, it brings all that booby tissue to the front so that you get an accurate measurement of it, if that makes sense. So... But yeah, man, don't listen to any sizing at Victoria's Secret. If you are above their highest size, they will just say that you're their highest size just to get you to buy bras.
Because they're assholes.
They're fun. Yeah, because consumerism and
capitalism. Because capitalism.
Yeah.
Do you feel, so I said before that, like, body positivity and having a good body image is now very trendy, at least on my TikTok. I found out that some things that are trendy on my TikTok, like Bo Burnham and that depressive soundtrack, are on people who are Wells TikTok. So
it is very trendy. And it's one of the most heated debates too.
Yeah. Well, because, like, you know, I love nothing more than to have imposter syndrome. So I bubble between a size 16 and a size 18, which means that I'm usually pretty consistently a 1X. But if it's like a store like Old Navy has, like, giant clothing. I don't even know how they're cutting clothing anymore. Like, a small could still be, like, an extra large. So, and I heard it's because, like, if Old Navy's just, like, at the end of the ream of fabric, they'll just sew it at the end of the ream.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Damn. What the fuck?
To get the most out of the fabric or something. Like, Old Navy, are you fine?
We need to check on them.
So anyways... I bubble between a 16 and an 18, pretty consistently a 1X. Will bubble between an extra large and a double XL, depending on where you're at. Can never figure out on like T Fury or anything if I can even attempt the women's sizes. Continuously always disappointed.
I just go to the boob section immediately.
Yeah.
Like, I go to the boob measurements, and I'm like, okay, what is that? And if it's not in my range, I'm like, bye.
Bye. So anyways, there's this, like, hierarchy now of who gets to count as plus size and who doesn't. And I don't know if it's my imposter syndrome or someone actually said a number, but I'm like, oh, I don't even fit into this movement.
So I think the issue comes with the realistic, like, statistics of what average women in the United States are. And I think the average for women is like a 14 in the United States. And, like, a 14 you can still usually, like, find in straight sizes, even sometimes up to a 16, sometimes. But, like, beyond that, it's, like, non-existent for straight size brands. Like, they just don't have it. And there's a lot of policing going on of, like, who is, I mean, obviously it is like kind of shitty if you have a truly skinny person who is commenting on fat issues, basically, when they're themselves are not fat.
But do you know what I always, because again, I just don't like gatekeeping or policing or rules to begin with. So, like, whenever I see someone who just, like, really wants to, like, demean someone who's just trying, who is also saying something like, I have struggled with this too, this is what helped me, or whatever, and, like, that's a point of vulnerability, and then people just want to, like, dump all of their hurt and anger onto that person because in their mind that person isn't struggling as much as you are.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched the show This Is Us? It's a cry bait show. You cry every episode.
I have.
So in This Is Us, the sister Kate and her husband are in, like, Overeaters Anonymous or whatever the hell it's called. And they're going to meetings or whatever, and there is this very, like, skinny, put together blonde girl named Madison, and they would make fun of her all the time because they're like, why are you at Overeaters Anonymous? But like, it's a room full of, like, larger people, and then, like, here's, like, America's Next Top Model in the room. But it was the only place where she felt like she could be seen and heard because of all of her disordered eating issues.
Yeah.
So, like, everyone is just trying to find a safe place. And I just feel like when we red tape everything and it's like, well, no, you're a bigger size than what Target carries, but you're not a big enough size to give a shit about you or any of it. Like, at what point do we stop making the fact that we don't feel safe everyone else's problem and just projecting that onto people?
I feel like, hold on, let me get my thoughts in order. I feel like the trend is leaning towards fat is not a negative thing. Right. That's what I think it's leaning towards, is let's just not comment on people's bodies.
Right.
Let's not assume that whether somebody's skinny or whether they're fat is indicative of their health.
Right.
Like, we're not health professionals. Most of us don't even in school get taught anything about nutrition or health whatsoever. Every body is different. Everybody's history, family history is different. Risk, susceptibility to diseases and just health issues are different. So that's the part that I think is the healthy part of the movement, is like, let's just stop focusing so much about the way that people look and just start having real relationships with people and stop making them feel bad about the way they look. Like, let's just stop. And I think what you're talking about is, like, the internet, right? Like, people just saying things that they would never say to someone in person. Like, you would never go to somebody who seemingly looks skinny or average or whatever you would consider them, and tell them that their issues aren't real issues because they're not this. You know,
right.
you would never do that to someone in real life. That's just messed up. And so I think people are just like getting in everybody's business a little bit too much on the internet. Like that's just the issue with the internet. Like everybody needs to shut the fuck up.
Everyone has an opinion, but sometimes that opinion can just stay in your brain.
Like if you have you watched the Bo Burnham special now yet?
No, because I told you that
okay, I know it's
worried about it. Because like Handmaid's Tale, I just feel like certain media, I have to be either in the let's burn it all to the ground mindset.
Yeah.
Where, like, I literally don't give a fuck anymore about how I feel or how anyone else feels. Or I have to be so Stepford okay that whatever the TV's going to show me isn't going to get in. And, like...
there was a little scene in his new special. If you haven't watched it, you should really go watch it. But there's a little scene where he's like, can anybody, anywhere, just shut the fuck up about any single thing for an hour? And that's how I feel about this, talking about body issues and stuff like that. Like, obviously it's a very important topic. I don't want to minimize that. But also, if we all just stopped scrutinizing everybody's bodies and just lived life and worried about, you know, the issues that are killing our world, maybe, you know, everybody would be a little bit better. Let's just mind our own business, y'all, on the internet. Just shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up?
Just shut the fuck up a little.
Unless you have compliments. What if that was the thing? I love giving out compliments on the internet because I know how icky the internet gets, and I'm like, but what if I just posted a compliment?
I mean, I think it has to be genuine, but like, I think compliments are great.
Like, what if I came upon your TikTok and I watched your little food tip and I was like, and I just commented, my God, I've never known how to cut an avocado. Thank you for making me smarter. I still won't be cooking in my own home, but now I know.
Yeah. And you know what's even what I've been noticing, at least on my TikTok For You page, is that doctors are becoming more accepting too of not focusing so much on weight at every single appointment. Even whenever you break your arm, they're telling you to lose weight. So the fat phobia with the medical professionals is at least moving in the right direction.
I'm so mad. Why wasn't that my story? You
tell the story.
The only time as an adult that I've been fat shamed happened during quarantine because I had to switch doctors. I was unemployed. I was paying for new insurance. And I had to go to a new doctor for my pap smear. And she was the roughest human I have ever seen with my body. And I think I told you this. When I was doing my little ritual of like rubbing lotion onto my body and like being intimate with myself, I felt a foreign object in my breast. And Hot Mom has fibrous tissue and it gets rolled up and it creates cysts or objects or aliens, whatever. I also had a cousin who had like one of those twins that grew out of her body. So like it could have ran the gamut of what it is. But all I knew is that I felt something and I immediately went, oh God, now I have to find a new doctor. Because I love nothing more than to avoid an errand. And I spent the next 4 days trying to relocate the foreign object. Like, my chest was so bruised because I was never not. Like, I'm one of those people who fixates and, like, picks. And
obsess, on the one thing.
I hyper-focused.
Yeah.
So I get to the doctor. And, like, number one, she didn't believe me that I worked out. Like, when I was, like, telling...
What?
Yeah, when I was telling her, like, how anxious or whatever, she said something, like, real shitty, like, well, maybe if you worked out, that would help. And I went, well, I do yoga 3 to 4 days a week, and when I'm not doing yoga, I try to do a cardio activity, like a YouTube video or a walk or something like that. I was like, I'm not saying that I do it every day, but I I know that I am more active than some people during the quarantine. And she went, oh. I was like, I am nervous about returning to the gym because it's a lot of breathing. And COVID is respiratory. She was like, ah. And I was like, bitch. And then and then I was like, my breast exam is going to need to be a little more extensive because I do believe that I felt something, and I tried to like show her where I felt it or whatever. And when I say that, like, I've never had my boobs roughhoused in the way, like, she was pushing and, like, slapping and hitting and squeezing.
Jesus.
And I'm like, what the fuck? And that's how rough she was with my pap smear, too. And, like, my stomach. Like, everything was just, like, inconvenient about my body.
Jesus.
And then again, I can never read the room. So I tried to, like, approach her. I was like, hey, I was wondering if you had, like, a recommendation for, like, a general practitioner, or maybe your general practitioner. Like, I just picked a name off of a website. I was like, I'm having a lot of sensory issues in this nanny job that I'm having. My counselor thinks that, like, a very low grade, like, almost like anxiety med that I can just, like, take when they're really bad. Just one of those occasional ones would help. She treated me like I was trying to get meth.
What?
Like, she just, like, ignored me. And again, the exercise will just be helping with that. Also, I don't understand why you would be doing a at-home breast exam this close to your period. Don't you know that your boobs do odd things during your period? And I was like, number one, I know nothing about my body. No one's ever taught me anything about my body.
Never go back to this doctor ever again.
Right. I was like, number two, I wasn't doing a breast exam. I was rubbing affirmations into my body, and I felt a foreign object and thought I was doing the responsible thing and made an appointment. Because the women in my family have a history of having foreign objects in their boobs.
Yeah, that's the shit that, like, really pisses me off. Like, these are people who are supposed to be helping you.
Healers.
And shaming people or making people feel bad or judging them or any of that shit is not okay. In a doctor's office, all you're doing is pushing people from wanting to come back to the doctor and having fears of the doctor. And that's how people die, literally, is they're too scared to go to the doctor.
Because I'll be honest with you, I just said it yesterday. It's like, I'll just die of some unknown cause because, like, I don't go to the doctor because if you go to the doctor, you have to A, deal with doctors, and B, deal with the consequences of actually knowing what's going on in your body. And that's expensive in America.
It really is.
It is expensive.
I'm sorry she was like that.
Yeah, I know. But that should have been my original story. I had forgotten that I was fat shamed at the doctor.
I'm sure we'll talk more about body images down the line in this podcast, so we'll come back to the doctor.
Yeah, let's do takeaways.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm changing my takeaway that I wrote on my outline, so I'm improving. Okay. Yesterday, my mental health professional asked me while I was talking about this episode and how I felt like I didn't really have enough to share. And she said, well, does that mean that you love yourself? And I said, well, I believe that I'm at peace with myself. And she went, it's not really the same, is it? Well, fuck.
I know, she's good at doing that.
So I said, well, I guess, so now my homework is to love myself every day. I have to write it down. But I do think that I need to strike the word vanity out of my vocabulary. I do take any opportunity where I've posted a really good selfie or I feel really good in an outfit or I want to shout to the world, hey, I look good. I want you to know it because I feel good. And if I feel good, that means that everyone can feel good in a body that looks like mine. I immediately qualify it with, but don't forget, I'm a funny girl who's vain as hell, so nothing I say matters. So I think my next step in this journey is to actually just be open and say, well, I said I looked good because I know that I looked good, and end the conversation there and be unapologetically brazen and bold and happy with myself. My manifestation for the world is that I want people to be okay in their skin and actively pay attention to all the things their body can do. Because I think if you almost just took yourself out of it and just said, wow, my body walked 4 miles today, or we finally got comfortable in pigeon pose with yoga, or any of the things, or like my hands created a painting today, and have gratitude for the things that your body allows you to do every day, you start to have a different relationship with it. I'd almost come up with another minute. Oh, and I want my partners to be an active participant in my body worship. I don't want to be the person who's blowing them away with like, oh, wow, she looks like that, but she feels like she's Sandra Bullock. Well, fuck you. Like, take my lead, and also like do some body worshiping during our more intimate moments.
So my manifestation for myself is that I want to continue to fight the internal battle that I have with my body image, and continue to recognize those negative things that I say to myself and know that they're not okay to say to me. Like, if it's not okay to say to my friend, it's not okay to say to me, to myself. My hope is that one day I can accept myself as I am in the most authentic way. And for everybody else out there, if you're struggling with your body image, because I know there's so many people out there that are, my manifestation for you is that you find one way, even if it's just a small thing, just find one thing that you love about yourself and slowly build on that and continue to find ways to love yourself and your body, and know that you are enough just as you are, even if nobody in your life is saying it to you and it's only me saying it to you. You are enough, guys.
And if she's gonna say it, I'm gonna shout it because I am loud. What if I just shouted at you all the things that were great about you? And shocked you into liking yourself.
That's right. All right, let's plug it up.
All right. Make sure to like and subscribe. And if you have subscribed already, your next step is to leave us a 5-star review and a comment about what you're enjoying and why you subscribed and why you keep coming back. I would also like to shout out the Washington, D.C. area, because currently you are our second city who, of listeners. You're our second biggest city, which is odd because we live in the Dayton area. So it goes Dayton, Washington, D.C., and then like Columbus and Cincinnati, which make more sense because they're near us. So if you are not in Ohio or the Midwest or America or anything, I would really love to know how you got here. What is your origin story as a tolerator? How did you get here? And have you made any gains on making more of you in your area?
Did you start a fan club for us and are growing?
Do you have a best friend that you text during the episodes? Tell me anything. I'll chat with you. Tell me anything.
Literally just talk to us.
Right. Don't forget that our Instagram is at Men I've Tolerated Pod. If you take a screenshot of anything I post, anything Dina posts, anything that you're listening to that has to do with us, and you put it in your story, we will make sure to move you over to our story and give you a manifestation. And I'm even okay if it's your own podcast that you just also want on our story, a small business. Like, I want to start building a community, so please reach out. And then my personal Instagram is NatalieK124. And sometimes I do art shit, and I have a blog at nataliesinspiration.com. My TikTok is also NatalieK124, and sometimes I write rage poems and put them on there. So.
Love that. So you can follow me on Instagram as well. My handle is at @ms_caboose. You can give me a follow and interact with me. I promise I'll respond. And I'll have links to my Twitch and all my other social media. I'm thinking about starting a new project soon, like my own personal journey, and I want to try and be strong enough to like post about it if I can. So you might be seeing some new stuff from me out there. I won't give anything away, but definitely give me a follow if you're out there.
And if anything resonated with you tonight and you need someone to share a story with, whether or not you were okay with us using it for future listener episodes or anything, you can always email us at menI'veToleratedBefore@gmail.com in case one DM just isn't enough.
Yep.
I love pen pals.
Yeah.
So that's it. And remember, you don't have to smile through anything you're tolerating. And you definitely don't have to smile at any fuckers who are making a comment about your body that you don't like. Smiles are for joy. If people aren't giving you joy, get them the fuck out.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
See you later, guys.
Love you, tolerators.
Bye.
Bye.